such an asshole.
I need to apologize to this client because this one got through the cracks. It's been 2 weeks. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to refund him his money. Aaron, I'd like this request to double as a letter of thanks. 3 years ago, you made a video response to a question I submitted through your website related to pursuing a career in accounting. Here's the link to the video in question. Since then, I've been enrolled into a university's graduate accounting program, which will provide me enough college credits to receive a CPA in my home state of New York. The acceptance letter I received represented the fulfillment of a years-long project, and it came included with a $10,000 scholarship. I'm going to tell you right now, I'd reevaluate the school you're going to. Nothing wrong with the school. You could just get yourself a master's degree through Western Governors University. It's cheaper. Just make sure that since you want to practice in New York, make sure the accounting certification board or whatever, the CPA society, that with that, those count master's credits to sit for the New York CPA. But you're there. As it was your advice that encouraged me on this path, I feel indebted. Thank you again. Though I've enjoyed my victory lap, I've also thinking ahead towards future professional prospects, as my previous summer jobs were more grunt than office jobs at a local theater, along with a stint and a manager at a blue-collar company. I'll be inexperienced in terms of fielding interviews and office politics. Don't worry about the office politics. Did you take the world's greatest accounting career? Because that may have predated your choice to go into it. I'll tell you this. You're going to really want to look into self-employment. I know you're going to mention the Big Four and working in public accounting, but I would not worry about office politics because in the end, whether you think you want to work in public accounting in an office now and you want to be W-2 or or you want to be self-employed, you're never going to come to the conclusion, I almost guarantee you, that you're going to want to become self-employed. So I would not worry about office politics. I mean, you're going to have to worry about it. And I'll tell you this, the Big Four is fucking cancer. They're outsourcing everything they can to India. We got some weird reports coming in from people who started as interns and they're doing associate level work. And then Chad, well over 10 years ago, worked there, and they were doing all the girl boss DEI hiring. It's a shithole. You don't want to work there. But if that's your goal, is to get into industry and go, you specialize in whatever, the transportation industry as a Big Four accountant, fine, that's your stepping stone. But girls in college, the Big Four are only there for you to use temporarily. They are not there to commit. Big Fours often hire out of this graduate program. That's not a selling point. Unless you really want to get into the Big Four, it's not. Look at the hot chick with big boobs. That's the Big Four. The hot chick with Bill. Man, look at this hot chick with big boobs. And every dumb young guy is going to go after that until you're older and wise. Like, no, that's pain. That is totally not worth it. The Big Four is starting to get a little long in the tooth there. Listen to Economics Ethan and anybody else who's worked at the Big Four. It's not worth it. Fuck those people. I'll be in an advantageous position for recruiting. That being said, I want to ensure that I approach this great opportunity with care. What advice would you have for a Gen Z man seeking to build professional connections, given contemporary business culture? Best regards. We'll keep you anonymous. Gloss over the parentheticals. Yeah, I'll do that. Okay, so graduate. You're at a graduate accounting program. Okay, so you already got your undergrad. And then you go sit for your CPA. It sounds like you are preferring to do the traditional W-2, get your master. Well, you're already enrolled in the program. You want to get your CPA. Nothing wrong with that route whatsoever. And you seem like you want to go work for the Big Four. I am only going to try to talk you out of it in as so far as that you are young and you don't know what you don't know because you haven't been through it. Can you go work for the Big Four or public accounting in general and have a successful career? Yes. You may be one of the precious few who has the personality for it, either to stick it out and make partner at the Big Four, good luck, or you do your 2 to 3 year stint, you get experience in that, you get your CPA, classic route, and then you go work whatever industry that you worked in at the Big Four, assuming you get into the Big Four. You go make your $70,000, $80,000 a year as an associate in a major leftist shithole with expensive parking, expensive rent. You deal with the corporate politics. You realize what old man Cappy and old man Elkins was telling you was right all along. You say, fuck this, I'm out. And you go and you work as $120,000, $150,000 a year accountant, senior accountant at whatever, a plastics manufacturing company, inevitably making your way up to controller and CFO, maybe CFO. Nothing wrong with that life term. You're not going to be poor. You will not be poor. To get there, your biggest hurdle is going to be to get an internship. And already you're worrying about, well, I don't have accounting experience. They're not going to give a shit about you being a manager at a blue collar job. They're not going to give a shit about you doing clerical work. You're going to want to get an internship. Like this year, because you only got a 2-year program, I would be looking to get an internship. And there should be a pipeline. If the Big Four is recruiting from that school, there should be a pipeline. So go talk to the recruiting department or the jobs placement department, whatever they call it over at your school. Find out what the procedure is. I'm sure they got it down to like, yeah, first year you intern here, second year you intern, and then maybe you get a job offer. That's the classic route. So go talk to the recruiting department. What do they call it? The jobs office, whatever they call it. Go work there. Or go check out that. You get your internship, you do a good job, you get your enough credits to sit for the CPA, and then you'll be glide pathed into the accounting company, assuming they like you and assuming you like them. So the main thing is to get an internship. That's the main thing. Don't worry about working some other job, like Mom, Pa, Kettles Accounting, helping them with their accounts receivable. Won't hurt, but that's not a priority. But go to school, get that internship, and if you can't get the internship, you're going to have to find some kind of accounting. However, in the, I'm going to say unlikely chance you don't get an internship, but you never know. Big Four might be, oh my God, have you heard this country called India where they lie about their degrees and they speak English, sort of, and we could just hire them for 25 cents an hour. Yeah, now they're in charge of Microsoft's accounting department. Yeah. In the case you don't get an internship, that's going to be me telling you, or that's going to be the first bit of evidence that all is not well in perfect little squeaky clean Big Four corpo public accounting world. And that's fine, because all is not lost. And it's actually what I'm going to argue is a blessing in disguise, because I'm still going to say you're not going to want to work long-term at the Big Four. You're not going to want to work long-term in public accounting. You don't want to work for corpos either. It's fine. It's better than being a communications major working as a bartender to go be a realtor, to go, pull tricks at a truck stop. I mean, anything's better than that. Well, maybe not. I don't know. You're not going to starve, but it's going to suck. And if you don't learn the corporate politics game, which I couldn't do in chat, no one does, by the way. It's like, how do you win at middle school? That's basically how do you win at middle school? You don't win at middle school. You leave, you get the fuck out. Then I would start looking more towards self-employment. Now, by that time, you'll have a year done. You might as well go get your master's degree, sit for the CPA, get your CPA. Because by that time, it's the same amount of time it would take you to just go and do self-study and get an EA. Unless your finances are so tight you can't afford that last year of schooling, in which case I would be perfectly fine, drop out, test for your EA, and then immediately start opening up shop, or they'll maybe probably work at H&R Block, Jackson Hewitt, whatever. But if you can't get an internship, I would start to at least entertain the realm of self-employment. So you're going to have two strategies when it comes to your career. You're going to keep applying for regular white-collar W-2 employment through the accounting industry. And then you're also going to start looking at things like EA certification, although I don't know how important that would be if you're going to get your CPA, but some kind of certification that allows you to do taxes. I would also look at starting to get a QuickBooks certification where you could actually do bookkeeping. And I would start looking into the realm of self-employment. You don't have to do full-time employment, not at all, or full-time self-employment, sorry. You could start a little bit of something on the side. And I would start thinking about that. Like maybe you get your domain name. Maybe you look into like, okay, I got my EA. I would start working at H&R. Like if you get rejected for all your internships with public accounting, I'd be looking at H&R Block, Jackson Hewitt, some kind of small accounting firm doing taxes, whatever it is. Start getting some kind of experience so that when you do graduate and get your CPA, you have a little bit of experience, you know what you're doing, you could at least prepare a tax return, and then with your CPA, you can go and strike out on your own and open up your own shop. You may want to work several more years doing taxes just to get a feel for it. You may like, no, I like the small little mom pa CPA firm, and there's old Grandpa Kettle, and I've been doing taxes since 1961. And his son is a nepo baby piece of shit, and he's a drug addict, and he regrets having the son. And then you're the good guy who comes in and helps us. I wish I had a son like you. And then he dies, and little did you know, he left you he kicked his son out of the will, and you inherit the CPA firm and the hot secretary that he was banging on the side. She says, well, I banged him on the side. Now I need to bang you on the side. It's in my contract, one could hope. Probably not going to happen, but working for a smaller firm, not the big four, not a Fortune 50, that's fine. I think that's going to be the better route. And then you're sitting on a beach with a laptop doing people's taxes. Then you're like Chad Elkins, who I witnessed, who just went and worked in his office, came out great, ate great food. We hung out with Nuke, and then went back, and he does that for 3 months, and then he's free for the rest of the year. I put this on here. So, yeah, that's what I would do. I would not be committed to your master's program, unless you really want to get into the big four, and then okay, stick with it because that's where they recruit. I'm not making fun of you. I'm just the idea that this school will recruit from. It's like no, you just be prepared to be replaced by Indians. Okay, just letting you know right now. With care, what advice would you have for a Gen Z man to build professional connections, given contemporary? So here's the other thing. I would not worry too much. Don't make the mistake I did. And this is because you're Gen Z, just because you're young. I thought there was more of a method to the networking business office politics madness. I thought there was, like when you're in school, you think, well, somehow there's this method to be the popular kid. No, it's just the kid got mom and dad to buy him the latest shirt. Networking, it's just where you go in, and yeah, you're gonna have to talk to people. And I think here's where Chad's idea of having a course on how to not be autistic or Aspergery or Spurgy or whatever you want to call it. It's not going to hurt you to learn how to be professionally social, of which there's not an instruction manual. It's more like a list of don'ts. And it's not a black and white set of rules, but I would start by reading How to Win Friends and Influence People and pay a special attention to Andrew Carnegie. He's the author, his experience with The Botanist. Don't really know. Here's the really crash course on what me and Chad would put together if we did a How to Stop Being Autistic course. No one cares about you. Be quiet. They care about you in as so far as you might be a potential employee or benefit them, but nobody cares about you. They don't hate you, but they don't care about you. So when you're in people's presence, especially in a networking type of event, which suck, but I'm going to advise that you go to a couple just to get a feel for it. Go there with a determination, with an objective. I'm going to hand out several resumes. um, I'm come up with some smart, insightful questions about the career. Not like, how much do you pay? Not that. You got to play the corporate game. I think it'd be good to go if there's a business networking event. Only 2 of them. No, it's going to suck. No, it's bullshit. And see if you can get a couple resumes. See if people got any questions. Yeah, have some questions that you are genuinely interested about. Like, yeah, like where's the office? Where are the offices? Do you have suburban offices? Do you don't say, do you all work from home? Because they're going to say no. That's what I would. And you don't want to ask them, oh, you married? It's a fine line, right? You don't ask about their personal life. That's too personal. But, a great question. Do you really like working there? If I were to just look around, make sure his boss or her boss saying, do you really like working there? Like, is it, or do you, are you here just because you're paid, or do you actually like this company and you want to recruit people? That's a great, honest question. Okay, what's the drawback? Here's another thing you could go to. It shows you're interested. What's the drawbacks? I know all the good stuff, sure. What's the drawbacks? Tell me why I wouldn't want to work there. It's kind of like you're trying to suss out a gal to date, and you're not to date. I'm sorry. It's like kind of trying to suss out if you want to marry this gal. I'm like, hey, look, this isn't an interview, right? It's just networking. Do you like working there? Like, do you have sex or are you a prude? Do you want to get, how many kids you want? Let's cut to the chase. Let's find a reason this relationship wouldn't work. I know all the reasons it could, but just what's the deal? I mean, would you prefer working somewhere else? Like what? And that's going to be a different question than other people, but it's still a germane and it shows that you're actually interested. And it's a little bit of a risky approach because everybody's like, oh, I always wanted to work for Pete Marwick or whatever the fuck. But you're going to stand out a little bit. Like, do you really like working there? What do you? I know you got to do but did you willingly? Are you really selling? And that might be a legitimate question. But then if they ask you questions, you certainly can answer them. Have your answers. Kind of don't rehearse them. Just know what your answers are. And then go to a couple. A lot of this is just going to go and you get used to it. Now you've worked at a corporate office before, so you probably have some intuition. Like it's not conscious. You went to middle school, you went to high school, you kind of know some rules. It's like that. And if you don't know if you should talk, be quiet. You don't have to say anything. Don't volunteer information. So I think you're putting a little bit too much emphasis. Like you mentioned office politics. Like, how do I handle the office politics? That's not how. Thinking there's a solution and the answer is 42. It's like, how do I make friends? You don't think about it. You just go and hang out with people. Office politics, you just be polite, be civil, stand out in a good way from everybody else by asking pointed questions that are not abrasive. Shows that you're actually thinking and a little bit above the rest of or different, like differentiate in a good way. And look, you know what? If you want to go to a bunch of business networking meetings. You don't even have to go to the ones that are accounting. Just go and see, like, get some business cards. Practice, right? A lot of guys, it's not too unlike asking girls out. A lot of the coaches will like have you go and ask. You got to ask 13 girls for their number, of which you have no intention of calling, but you got to go and you got to talk to them. Some people say, go strike up a conversation with the cashier. Go strike up a conversation with that random guy over there. Kind of a funny thing to look at if you take it to the extreme. I'm going to give you some homework and you're going to enjoy it. Go watch Impractical Jokers. Go watch how they have to cross the threshold of striking a public conversation and do ridiculous things. A lot of it is for comedy and look at these guys and they're going to get punched. But also notice how they get in like, hey, it's a nice day. Look at that pigeon over there. That's a funny pigeon, right? They initiate that, and if you can do that, now Chad would probably be able to speak to this way more competently than I can. And I've seen a buddy of mine do this. Buddy of mine, he's from India, and he unlike all the other Indian nerd engineers, this guy was social, and all the Indians go to Indian restaurants and they hang out with their Indian family and they go back to their Indian family. They don't explore the United States. My buddy did. That's how I met him. He took my dance class. He wanted the American experience. He stepped outside and he ended up becoming like a go-between, a liaison between the management group, executive, the engineer nerds, Indian or not. But then also had a social aspect to him. He could take him out drinking because he went to the bars. He figured out, you got to check out this place. Kind of became a tour guide a little bit. If you aren't just this numbers guy and you can talk a little bit, you could socialize and, point, hey, what that funny pigeon over here. And you're not autistic, that is going to go far in all endeavors. But it's also going to be something that stands out from the rest of the people who are going to be perfectly understandable, nervous, and maybe not antisocial, but introverted accounting type of people. So I won't worry or think too much about, well, how do I handle the office politics? That will be very specific to your office, and you'll handle it as it comes. How do I dodge bullets when I get to the front line? Wait till the bullets start flying. You can't dodge them now. You're not even there. You're still in training. That's live fire exercise. But the politics when it comes to networking and negotiating and talking, that would be more win friends and influence people, watch Impractical Jokers. And I would go out several times watching Impractical Jokers first. I mean, after you watch 5-6 episodes, you'll get the point I'm trying to make. Go ahead, read Win Friends and Influence People. Don't take it too literally. Really just read the part about him and the botanist. And then I would go to here, if you want to be real clever about it, go to meetup groups or not meetup groups, go to networking events for not your industry. Because how many people, you're going to see the same recruiters, right? So practice in industries you have no interest. Like there's the plastics convention, right? Go to the plastics convention and chit chat with them. And then here's what, let's say you get a good conversation going with the guy. So why are you here if you're an accountant? Like, well, I'm a nerd and I'm not very social. And I want to make it so that when I go to the accounting networks events, I'm used to this. And it's not that I hate the plastics people. I don't want to waste people's time, but I need to learn how to talk to people in a setting like this. But I figure if I'm going to screw up, I'll make my mistakes here. And then a guy will be like, holy shit, we got to get, because everybody's got an accounting department. All of a sudden you got a job offer from a plastics firm, right? And this is opinion on my part. I could be completely wrong. I think people are so fucking sick and tired of this straight-lace, rehearsed HR Kuantaha girl boss answers that they are refreshed to find someone who isn't belligerent or abrasive, but is somewhat more candid, disclosing. I'll give you another example. Friend of mine, retired cop, and he retired young. And he retired so young because he started so early. He goes back to work, but he doesn't do the full-time thing anymore. So he does part-time this, part-time that. He works security gigs because it's a large city he lives in. And there was a smaller cop shop that was looking to hire. Did they want him to be like deputy police? I don't think it was just foot patrol. I think they wanted a a manager cop. I don't think police chief, but was he going to be he was going to be something in charge of something, maybe community relations officer, a retired cop would do. It wasn't SWAT, that's for sure. But they asked him, and they said, "What's your weakness? What's your greatest weakness?" And the guy said, and he rehearsed it. He says, like a 25-year-old Sophia Loren. And only a handful of people knew who Sophia Loren was, and they laughed. And they had explained, like, no, Sophia Loren here, and there's a picture of Sophia Loren from 1968. She's gorgeous, of course. It's like, that's my biggest weakness. And they laughed. It shows he's human. They say, no, seriously, what's your biggest weakness? He's like, look, man, what's the answer to that? There's no answer to that. That's my statement. That's my official statement. Now, he doesn't need the job, so he could be a little bit more flippant about it. It's like, that's my answer. Write that down. Of course, he got the job offer. I don't know if he took it or not. But I think people are so sick. Oh, this is the correct. Oh, you know that bitch from 1989? For that 39-year-old bitch, unlike the 39-year-old bitches today. Yeah, the 39-year-old boomer bitch from 1989. She came up with this thing. Oh, you should ask them what their greatest weakness is. And it never fucking worked in the past 40 years, but we're going to keep doing it anyway. They're sick and tired of that bullshit. Everybody knows Karen in HR is a bitch, and her tactics and techniques don't work. So you come in there, what's your greatest week? Go ahead, plagiarize it. Sophia Loren you better know what she looks like, though. Don't say Sophia Loren. You're like, the Italian actress? Well, I don't know. And it's not going to be that hard to look up Sophia Loren. Or if you prefer redheads, Anne Margaret. Right? Some class, what's your weakness? Sydney Sweeney. That's my weakness. Oh, no, come on. No, that's my weakness. I write that down. That's officially my weakness. I work too much. No, Sydney Sweeney is my weakness. I'm going to stand by that. That's the hill I'll die on. And you'll stand out until you get to Karen and see. Don't say Sydney Sweeney. That's right, I forgot, because then it's going to go to HR, which is headed up by 39-year-old miserable spinster bitches. I hate Sydney because they're all jealous, and you're not going to get the job. But if you do Sophia Loren, that might be a little bit more classy. Otherwise, that's about it. We got super chat. Me Verda, the king. Brah, stop hating on this cool guy project manager with the F-150 truck nuts and my homies at PEI? At PE? Oh, private equity. Just be cool like us with the top 3 buttons unbuttoned. Is it the top 3 buttons now? Is the Patagonia vest with the coffee done? Are we done with that shit? Hang on, let me look it up. The Patagonia vest. Patagucci vest fad is largely over as peak corporate trend driven by the company's 2019 decision to stop selling co-branded vests to finance and tech firms. There's like, I don't got time for that. All right, that's it. Questions, answers, assholeconsulting.com. I'll see you guys later. Toodles.